Welcome back, folks, to the VHS Vault. I am one of your hosts, VHS Jason. Of course, next to me is the great man, Jason Roy Gaston. And Jason, I've got to say, this is you're all right.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
This is a
Got a little
review
lump
that's
in my
almost
throat.
impossible to do. I think this is single-handedly the hardest review I'm ever going to do for this show so far. And the reason I say this is because it's just perfection. I can't add anything to this that not everyone else knows about and feels about this film. I would challenge to say in that echelon of perfect films, as far as I'm concerned, this lives. So it's certainly nothing critical coming from me in this chat that we're having.
I thought it was okay. I'm just kidding. This movie breaks my heart every time I watch it. I do have, and we're of course talking about the Iron Giant as requested by one of our lovely Patreons, Mr. John Gibbons, who is always like, review this, review this, review this. And we're like, absolutely, we're your little puppets. Do whatever you want. You give us money, we'll do what you want. We'll do anything for money. Anything. If there's one criticism I can level against this film, it's that I can see you getting defensive, but here it comes because it's a major criticism. The ad campaign for this movie sucked.
Okay, cool.
Awful, and it is single-handedly responsible for this movie tanking at the box office. And whoever was in charge of the ad campaign at 20th Century Fox or Warner Brothers, I think Warner Brothers, whoever was in charge of that should burn forever. I just think, it's a measure of response. I just think you should burn and suffer forever.
Thank God you said that, because you've just made me realize there's absolutely a few things I could be critical about. Nothing that appears on screen, but what surrounded it, I think, is kind of unbelievable. I read somewhere this thing actually started out as a musical. If I read somewhere that the initial concept for this was going to be, and Brad Bird came in and completely changed the approach to it. You've never heard that,
brother? Ew.
The film's development, it began in 1994 as a musical with the involvement of The Who's Pete Townsend.
I did know he was involved because he actually wrote a concept album based on the book. So Pete Townsend he actually still executive produced this movie if I'm not mistaken. Either that or he was a producer or he was a financer, something. He was involved in the creation of this movie. So if you want to know who was involved, yes.
The Who. That's it.
Yes.
Another little interesting thing about this was, obviously, as soon as Brad Bird got involved, he hired another writer, and they kind of came to the script which they used for the film here as well. This is the last Warner Brothers animated movie to use the Warner Brothers feature animation logo. Because if you remember, back then in the 90s, the Warner Brothers logo with the cartoons, you either got feature animation logo, which is a bit more stylish, classic Warner Brothers, or you got the other one with Bugs Bunny in a tuxedo leaning against the logo and chomping.
Oh, the one that with dun 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 dun.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, about to watch something that's garbage. Yeah, I remember.
It's a little thing, but I love the fact they used the feature animation logo, because it makes a statement in this film in the first second that this is a classy film. Animation just happens to be the format we're telling this story, but this is beyond just a cartoon for kids. And I love that. It was the last time it ever got used. So, Warner Brothers are insane now.
They really are. They're dangerous.
They grind my gears.
Yeah, very much so. This movie is it's something special. It really is. I just think it's infuriating that audiences today will complain endlessly about we only get sequels, we only get pre-existing IPs, we never get anything original, and then when something original drops in theaters, they don't go see it.
And
And
they
it was a
didn't, Jace.
no, they didn't. And
Yeah.
it was a problem in 1999, just like it's a problem today. We're seeing movies like Mickey 17, which was amazing, just get
Yeah.
completely ignored,
Yeah.
and movies like The Iron Giant get ignored. So
Yeah.
anytime I hear somebody complaining about a lack of originality, my response is, well, what do you expect?
Wow.
Audiences hardly ever reward studios who give original content anymore. And it
Well,
is
it's
not a
worse
recent thing.
now,
It has
even.
been that way for decades.
Yeah, it has. Exactly. But it is definitely because you've got now that generational situation with the audience is so deep rooted now. It's a real problematic. It was a $50 million budget, made $31 million in the box office. So
Surely they've
absolutely a
made that
failure.
back by now. I mean,
Sorry,
I
mate, I
have
think
a
you're on mute. Yeah. I know you weren't.
I have a Iron Giant, not a doll. It's like a big action figure in my classroom. My students love it. They're just like, oh, it's the Iron Giant. So surely with home media sales and merchandising, they've made that back by now. So I don't
I
really
would
buy the
suggest
whole.
they
It
have.
doesn't have it. It's a flop now. I don't buy it. I don't buy it
Yeah.
anymore.
No, it absolutely would be profitable now, but it's really not about the money. I think the failure, it's the disrespect Warner Brothers treated its animation department and the lack of faith it had. Like, that's what I don't understand, Jason. How do you not sit in a preview screening of this film as an executive team, marketing team, and go, A, we don't know how to market this film, and B, we don't believe in this film. Especially because it's
They
so
did it. They
universally
did it
loved.
again. They did it
Yeah.
again with The Day the Earth Blew Up, which
Yeah,
I believe
I
I was
just
one of.
watched it.
I believe I was one of
Amazing.
3 people who saw that movie, and it's if you have not seen The Day the Earth Blew Up,
Excellent.
watch that movie. It is spectacular. It is
Yeah.
funny. It is the funniest the Looney Tunes have been since
Yeah.
the original run. It
Opening
has got
montage is
heart.
brilliant. Yeah.
The animation is amazing, and it's just a great movie. But yeah, Warner Brothers sat there in that movie, just like they did the Iron Giant, and just went, well, we don't believe in this. It's quality. We don't want to have anything to do with this. So yeah, Warner Brothers is just awful. That's the bottom line. They're awful.
Well, let's face it too, which is bizarre because they have the best, like in regards, like they're the best. If you compare Disney short like cartoons compared to Warner Brothers dominated. They were the pinnacle of animation in the 40s, 50s, 60s onwards. Like they are the gold standard, not in regards, I think, in animation style and innovation in that, but just comedy. Like they have some of the most universally funny material ever seen. And the way they treat their animation is unbelievable. Although this film is not a comedy, it's certainly prestige animation from Warner Brothers. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's not a comedy, but it does have some very funny parts.
Oh yes, absolutely. Hey, in a message I sent you, because I mentioned Looney Tunes, and I was right into that. This is very animation style. Reminds me of some Looney Tune artists from back in the day, like a Friz Freleng, a Chuck Jones, that style of animation, but added with a modern. They never go too far with it, and I just thought to myself, this is just stellar. But really, it doesn't matter how it looks, Jason. It's the story and it's the voice artists, right, that make this film what it is.
What it is about the animation that I really like is that it is animated like a cartoon, but the characters never go off model. They never stretch or bounce or anything like that. They are animated like human beings.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It makes me wonder if this movie would have worked as a live action feature, and if maybe it had done a little bit better that way. Because I do think that I don't know if they could have done it with the technology at the time, but I do think that it could have been a live action feature and still worked. But I like the animation. I'm not saying I wanted to change it, but I'm just wondering, could it have made that transition? Could the Iron Giant be redone in live action.
And
Warner Brothers, don't you dare. Don't you
look,
dare.
don't. They will probably take a swing at it. Oh, you know where I think the future of that lies? Funnily enough, with How to Train Your Dragon. I think if that live action pulls off a great movie, then I could see Warner Brothers going, well, you know, maybe we should do that. Because I enjoy it. Wouldn't even be that expensive to remake in this day and age. It wouldn't be an expensive film. However, you would completely suck the soul out of what it was meant to be.
I completely agree.
Yeah. I don't want to see you live. In fact, I'm done. You know, there's a couple of live action adaptations coming up that I'm interested in. How to Train Your Dragon is one, and even Lilo and Stitch, believe it or not.
I am seeing Lilo and Stitch because it actually looks like it's going to be faithful to the story, but still do its own thing, which I really like.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they captured the soul and essence of Stitch, really, because that's every bit of footage I've seen with him. I'm like, they've just completely. It feels so normal and natural now, you know. But anyway, don't make this live action, Jason, ever. It doesn't need to be. It was
just a thought experiment. I don't want them to do it. It's just a thought experiment.
It's a beautiful thing on its own because of its. You know, the other influence has kind of got that Norman Rockwell like underbody to it. You know, it's a classic Midwestern kind of, or Northern America. Just the way it kind of looks and that, and the characters that they are. But some of this voice cast, maybe not huge stars at the time, but you know, they became, some of them did, but an excellent voice cast. Like, they're perfect for their characters. Nothing feels out of place.
Yeah, I mean, we had Jennifer Aniston, Harry Connick Jr., Vince Diesel, who was just a complete unknown at the time. Yeah, an amazing voice cast. I want to build off of what you said about the look of this movie. I think in addition to Norman Rockwell, I think that it borrows also heavily from Flash Gordon and H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds movie from the 1950s. Just a lot of those old B movies, especially at the end whenever the Iron Giant kind of goes crazy and all the little things start coming out of him. That just reminded me so much of the Martian machines from that War of the Worlds movie, which I absolutely love. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, same here. I do. That's actually one I would love to talk about one day here on the VHS Vault.
Let's do it.
But yeah, look, I love that too. I love the fact that, it gave me that kind of vibe, that War of the Worlds with the tentacle heads. It's very cool. Very cool. Can I also mention some other really great character actors that did voices in this? I know we just mentioned the big voice cast, but I want to go back. Cloris Leachman, the great Cloris Leachman.
I think she says, what, 7 words in this whole movie?
Doesn't matter. She's in it. That's all I care
She's
about.
great. I miss
John
her.
Mahoney, the great John Mahoney. A lot of people, maybe if you ever watched the old Frasier TV series, he played the dad, but he was an amazing actor in his own right. He was there. But also Christopher McDonald. So Shooter McGavin himself, who is fantastic, can I say, playing the FBI. Well, is he FBI or CIA? I thought he's FBI, maybe.
I think he's FBI. Yeah,
he's FBI.
I think so.
Yeah, and he's amazing. And then one of my favorite character actors, and God rest his soul, was a character actor called M. Emmett Walsh. Don't know if you ever remember M. Emmett Walsh, Jason.
He was the Doctor in Fletch. And he was great.
He was amazing. I mean, he'd been in movies like The Jerk, Blade Runner, Critters, Blood Simple, like movies like the guy had a career that would blow your mind. The amount of films he was in. Anyway, shout out to M.
He was one of those people that you recognize, but you didn't know his name.
That's right. God rest his soul. He died just over a year ago, so very sad.
Yes.
All right, back to this film though. Holy moly, live action films would kill for this type of engagement early on. And what I mean by that is that we are locked into that main character immediately. I found myself. There is something that is very likable about this kid, which is usually a really hard thing to pull off in animation because you don't really feel anything for him. But
the fact that he brings home, he wants a pet, and he brings it home, and he's just look at it, Mom. Who who has not done that?
Yeah.
Just look at it, Mom. Look at it and fall in love with it.
How foreign do you think this kid's life is to the modern age kid?
I would say not
Because,
terribly so. At least I don't think so. I think that there's
well,
enough there
just
for any child to relate to him.
well, it's just that kid has a very different lifestyle where he got home, he could do what he wanted. He was a kind of latchkey kid who also would go out to the woods with adventure. And
We still have those. It's just instead of going out into the woods, they get an iPad and go veg in the corner. Some of them. Now we do have some kids who go out and still play in the woods and things. But yeah, we still got
I
latchkey.
know I'm being kind of old man facetious, but it is very much something I related to a lot. Just coming home and then doing what you want, kind of thing. To yeah, which is like a pretty great. And also interesting kind of themes behind this. The fact that it's embedded in the and really relies heavily thematically on the Cold War. I think that's something that I think's aged really well for the film. I really kind of love that. You know, the fear, the tension, you actually feel it in this movie at points.
Did you know that in certain parts of the movie, whenever they show stars, you can see one star moving?
Yeah,
And that is Sputnik, because back whenever Sputnik was in orbit, you could actually see it orbiting. And I love that is that like the what do you want to call it? It's the hanging threat over all these characters, why they are so paranoid.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just done perfectly. And the fact that they set it at a certain year, back in the 1950s, and I think that this is going to work well for other movies like It and what's another movie that did Stranger Things. I know that's not a movie, but all of these films and TV shows that do set their action and their plot in the past, I think it does a lot to basically make them timeless, because you don't feel like they're trying to pretend to be the modern day. It's like, no, this is 1982, this is 1955, and I think that's great. Incidentally, if Hogarth was a real kid, he'd be 80 by now.
Wow. It'd still be around though.
He'd still be around. Hey, you want to talk? You were saying you wanted a sequel to that. How about that? Hogarth is now an old man, still waiting for the Iron Giant to show up.
My evil mind was thinking this is really set up for a sinister, like just bloodbath of a sequel. Because
Hogarth is the first victim.
Well, to me, the Iron Giant is a scout.
Oh yeah.
That's my thing. Is like he's a scout. He's going in there to suss out the situation before the army is coming down. And something that, is kind of the white elephant in the room of this movie. Because you're like, to me, it's the white elephant in the room that there's an army out there probably waiting for a signal to come down and just eviscerate. And we know it's not just it's not like you just send one of them. We saw in the flashback, we see a whole lot of them. So my sinister sequel is we get to see that whole thing play out.
Yes, I could just see Hogarth going out into the woods. Giant, you're back. Wait, you're not the giant. Then there's a huge flash of light, and we hear Hogarth scream him, and that's how the movie starts.
Could we maybe steal Randy Quaid's line from Independence Day? Up yours. We could have that moment.
Yeah, I don't know if there was an army out there. I mean, they do have an advanced war machine. They sent it to a backwoods little planet, and the backwoods little planet killed it after playing with it for a few weeks.
Nah,
that would give me pause. That would just give me pause.
Well, let's face it. That's only a doable thing if it hadn't accidentally fried itself.
But they don't know that.
Accidentally
they
fried
don't know
itself,
that. No, they don't know that. No.
But I'm saying if the thing hadn't fried itself, none of that would have happened because it just would have gone on the warpath immediately. Would have caught him out of it.
Really,
he would have
the control room.
That town.
This alien war room is sitting there, and they're just like, "Oh, robot PQ-404 is at Earth, and it looks like a child has turned it into a plaything." A child? How did he do that? I don't know. And they just blew it up. Just blew it up. You mean they played with it for a month and then blew it up? Let's get the hell away from here.
Well, they blew it up by humanizing him, right? By humanizing the robot, because really it's the robot blew itself up. which is another thing. If you really want to think about a brave move to have the hero in a comedy, like in a cartoon in the late 90s, unalive himself for the sake of others, even though
but they do the trope.
He doesn't really, because we know at the end sequence he doesn't.
See,
but in that power of that moment,
to me, whenever that is one of my least favorite. Here's my thing I'm going to criticize the Iron Giant with. That is my least favorite trope in animation, is whenever a character sacrifices themselves for somebody else, and then later it's like, oh no, they're not really dead. I think the movie would have been a lot more powerful had we not had that last scene where it showed that he was okay and he was on a glacier somewhere. Maybe just find the head on the glacier and have it not move, but have that hopeful music play and then cut to black when you think he's going to wink at the camera or something.
I would have cut her after the moment of the first beep of the screw. That's what I would have done. I would have had the boy then look and see the screw on the side of his bed beep, because once it beeps, you've told the audience that it's still alive without having this grandiose lead up to the head in the North Pole.
Just like Cloverfield, it's still
alive. But besides that, I mean, come on. I mean, there's the fact that they're able to put such a beautiful soul inside a robot in this film, that you absolutely are locked in, and like everyone else, you want to protect him. It's really great. And the way they pretty well explain to the audience, he's a toddler. He's a toddler. That's what you're dealing with, which can be, beautiful and wonderful and funny, but can also be really dangerous. And that's the other thing that's so great about this film, is there's always an underlining threat about the Iron Giant as well that lays there. You love him. You think he's amazing. But at any time, as we get shown in this film, he becomes the most dangerous thing.
Like a chihuahua.
Yep, like a cat.
I want to comment about how well they integrated the CGI of the Iron Giant into that 2D animation, because it's near flawless. I mean, you can tell it's CGI, but at the same time, I think that actually helps the character because it does make him look more mechanical. He does not. Earlier, I said that the human characters don't go off model, but of course, the human body is malleable. It can bend. The Iron Giant can't do that. It's just he has to be a robot. And so his jaw, for example, never makes like the ooh sound when he talks. I read somewhere that they were trying so hard to get him to say Superman without like moving, which is going Superman. How do you do that? Superman. And eventually they did it to where it looked realistic. But I love that. I love how this character, if the human characters stay on model, this one is like strictly on model, just unchanging.
I gotta say,
registers surprise. It's just the eyes, and I think that is such good animation.
Well, I gotta say, like, I hadn't even thought about that throughout the film or after. That to me is the greatest compliment I can give it. Did not even separate as I was watching it or thought about the fact that was CGI. I just think it was so blended so well, And in this day and age too, remember, we get a lot of that, but you are so right. It was a pioneer in that. Like, there still wasn't a lot of, anytime CGI was used in a Disney film, even up to that point, you totally knew when the CGI was blended with the animation. Yeah, from a mile away.
I will say that the same year that the Iron Giant came out, Disney came out with Tarzan. And I really think that the CGI in that movie was next level. That whenever they developed deep canvas, just next level CGI animation. So we had leaps and bounds that entire year, not just with Iron Giant, but with other movies.
With Tarzan, though, when those moments happened, I could tell it was CGI. Here, I would say, because it wasn't required to do as much movement.
Too.
Sorry?
I said I can tell the Iron Giant is CGI too.
Oh, you could. I couldn't. And I was trying to say that it's because the Iron Giant has to do less physically that you buy into it. Like Tarzan's whipping out all over the screen. There's lots of movement and all that. What works for this, I think, from a CGI perspective is, like you said, he's got to stomp around. It's the minimum of movement that actually helps his character blend with the animation better than anything I had seen up to that point.
Yes,
There.
and can I make a special request to Warner Brothers? Warner Brothers, quit using the Iron Giant as a background character in mediocre movies. Stop it.
Like Ready Player
Stop.
One.
Like Ready Player One. I mean,
Yeah.
it was kind of cute to see him, but whenever you brought him into the battle as a war machine, did you even watch the movie? Oh my gosh. And don't even get me started on Space Jam: A New Legacy, where he's just in the audience, like, I'm watching LeBron James. No, the Iron Giant would never take part in that. He has standards. He would just, I am not an IP, and just walk away. Yeah.
Ready Player One, to be honest, I'm sure we'll talk about it one day. But Ready Player One is like seeing the new triple double Whopper burger, and it looks great, and you eat it, and you're sick afterwards. You enjoy eating it, actually, but then you're sick afterwards, and it just leaves a horrible scar. That's what Ready Player One is for me. I enjoyed it in the moment, and then the more I've watched it, the more I've gone, I don't know if I'm sickened by what Spielberg done, but I'm sickened by the messaging. I'm also sickened by the storytelling. It's like we are at that point in society. For us, entertainment has to be bits and pieces of better things. But anyway, that's for another.
I was really psyched to see the Serenity again. I will say that.
But it is is that the very definition of a member berry? That is a member berry kind of like superstar. Like it's like all these member berries formed into a giant.
That is putting a pile of member berries in front of Gallagher and having him hit it with a hammer and spray you right in the face with it. That's what Ready Player One was. Again, I did not hate the movie. No. I didn't like the movie, but I didn't hate it. That's the highest compliment I can give.
But you know, that's how good this film is, Jason, that we're criticizing other films that we're not here to talk about. That's how perfect of a film this is. It's the only way we can complain about something is talking about another movie.
Except for the ending. But you know,
yeah, which is such a tiny thing. It still works.
The ending is kind of a big thing, but you know, whatever.
Well, do you really think it's a big thing at the end of that? He opens his eyes up. I think as an adult, I watched it and went, oh, well, that's for the kids. That's to stop little Billy throwing a tantrum all the way home.
Okay, screw little Billy. It completely destroys the sacrifice, in my opinion. It destroys all meaning behind it.
Yes. Look, I agree with you. But I can also just go, yep. It's the sacrifice what really kind of matters. Because it did set itself. Here's the weird thing, right? After this thing became a huge hit on home video and DVD, which it did, and it made lots of money then, the fact that they haven't really thought about doing a sequel to this really shocks me, actually. I mean, it's popular enough that you include it in other films and other forms of media. Why didn't they move forward with it?
Well, that would require Warner Brothers to actually grow respect for its animation department, and we know that's not going to happen.
It's not only that, I think Brad Bird has a lot to do with there's nothing there. No. The story is complete.
No, we do not need a sequel to The Iron Giant.
You do not. And as I said earlier in this review, I believe the sequel to this is a dark, sinister horror sci-fi tale. So at that, let's just leave it.
It's just because there's something wrong with you. That's all. It needs to be Hogarth, age 80 in 2020 during the pandemic. He's in a nursing home. They won't let him go anywhere.
Hogarth, 80.
Then off in the distance, he sees these two really bright eyes, and he goes, "Hello, old friend." And then, yeah, I think that would be an amazing sequel.
Never going to happen, thankfully. Your version and my version will never happen, thankfully. So
we could turn it into a series of like Star Wars visions, the Iron
hey,
Giant
look,
visions.
we'll probably be
Here's the
able to AI the
interpretations.
whole thing in a couple of years. We'll be able to just put in, make the sequel to
Ew.
Iron Giant 2.
Boy, if you
This
think a
ending.
live action remake would just suck all the life out of it, the AI
Oh
would just
yeah.
like sprout teeth and just suck. That's it.
Well, get ready because you're gonna also get those two worlds merging. If you not only think that sucks, but this sucks, it's peanut butter in my chocolate because a lot of films these days come moving forward, and we've seen it with some using for credit sequences and that AI merging AI into film. It's coming.
It's soulless garbage.
That's it. That's it. But this isn't.
It's
This is
looting the
not that.
graveyards of real artists.
It is. It is absolutely horrible. It's terrifying. It's not only terrifying for artists, it's terrifying for people who use it to make a living. Even I'm nervous, who owns my own business in videography and do corporate events, that I've had to throw myself into AI knowledge just to make sure something, doesn't happen to my industry and the fact that you don't need me anymore. I mean, of course, you're going to need me to film it, but will you need me to edit one day? Who knows? Scary times. That's why we need a bit of
Computer
Iron Giant
will
in our
never
lives.
replace a human unless that computer is data, and we're just not there yet.
Yeah, thank God for individual creative voices. And I do believe, as much as the corporate world, like the corporate studios, will push AI into film and television, it ultimately will be rejected on a whole from the audience and the creatives out there. And what will happen is the audience will just go, well, you're going to feed me this crap. I'll go over here and watch something made by real people.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, let's move past the fact this is an excellent film, guys. If you haven't seen this, I honestly feel sorry for you. I feel like maybe Child Protection Services should have been rang on your parents. Or, you're just too lazy to go pick it up as an adult, but you should be seeing the Iron Giant.
You are weak and you will not survive the coming winter.
That's right. But I'm sure everyone's saying it's a beautiful film with great recommendation. But I do stand by it's a hard film to review because it's like you found one flaw. And I don't even and I recognize it as a flaw, but even I just go, to me, like, the movie's over by that point anyway. I've mostly checked out once he's blown up. But yeah, there you go. Great film.
Yes, it is a movie that says something. It is a movie with heart. It is a movie that is deep. It is a movie that learns from itself, where you have characters who grow and characters that you care about. And it's just, to me, The Iron Giant is a triumph. And I'm so happy that it is finally getting the recognition that it deserved way back in 1999, when you all should have shown up in the first place.
Well, that's the
Shame
weird
on
thing.
all of you.
That was the weird thing in revisionist memory I have, because I never remembered it being a flop. I have this weird memory of it always being loved and being successful, but that is not the case by all evidence.
It was steamrolled by The Sixth Sense, was what it was. They opened it opposite The Sixth Sense, and I think it opened in like 5th place. I mean, it was really, really just was not received
at all. Well, people, too busy seeing dead people. So
yeah, that was back whenever we thought M. Night Shyamalan was the next Hitchcock. Do you remember that? You remember those good old days whenever we were all delusional? I miss that.
Yeah. I was even delusional enough to hang on, because it kind of proved it. First 2 films are pretty damn good. And then the third one, I'm going, okay, I think I like it, until,
I liked Signs. It was The Village that threw me. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it was The Village, and then Lady
wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be funny if they were actually like in the modern age and they're just like out in the woods and just pretending to be oh my God, that's the twist. Oh God. Oh God.
Or A Lady in the Water, where literally M. Night plays the writer that saves the world.
Yeah, right there. I was just like, oh, screw this guy. Now, I will say that I think that all of these critical and public bombs that he put out one after the other, I do think it's humbled him because I think that his ego has been checked and he's actually doing pretty quality movies again.
I think the best thing that happened to him was when he went back to work with Blumhouse.
Yes.
I think that was the best thing that happened for his career. And yeah, he's about the story, you know, rather than, I think he would admit that he was chasing the big blockbuster life, and he couldn't do it. It just doesn't have it.
I still cannot forgive him for The Last Airbender. That was too far.
That was too far. You know, it was horrible. It was horrible. But it wasn't the only one that was horrible. The Happening was almost like a giant Saturday Night Live skit.
I loved it.
In a way, because
Hilarious.
I'm like, are you really like Wahlberg? Are you really playing it like this? Like it is
What?
one of the
No.
worst performances I think I've ever seen from a leading man. Is Mark Wahlberg in that film?
Well, Mark Wahlberg is already a terrible actor as it is, and just
But he
putting him in a
was
terrible movie just did not help.
Yeah, it just did it, you know. He needs to be stoic at all times, and you know, give me the
Silent would be
Departed,
nice.
the Departed Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Don't give me.
He never says anything. I like that. Yeah.
No, he has a couple of good little speeches in that, which is not too bad. Actually, you know where he was fun in? A little movie that came out this year called Flight Risk with him and Topher Grace. Yeah, Mel Gibson directed. No matter what you think of him, he does direct. He's a good director. So, yeah, that was a fun little kind of popcorn film.
Haven't seen it.
Probably.
I will watch it.
You probably have fine on Tubi sooner or later.
Oh,
yeah. It's not that high quality, yeah. So, but yeah, there you go. All right, well, that's it. I mean, like I said, this is a gold standard film. If the VHS Vault had a super secret vault, like for the uber rich, this film would belong in this secret super vault because it's priceless.
It is. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, just watch it anyway because there's something wrong with you. Something honestly wrong with you.
But I'm glad, and I just want to thank Mr. Gibbons again for giving us the excuse to go back and talk about this film. He is a very smart man for doing that, and you can be just like him and super smart as well. And Jason's going to tell you how you achieve that.
Why, my friends, of course I will. First of all, you need to go to the video description below and click the icon that says Patreon. Go to our Patreon and become a Patreon and give us money. You can also become a YouTube channel member and support this incredibly, incredibly stupid thing that we do here. And we would be ever so grateful.
Excellent. All right. Okay, guys, in the next episode, I believe, we're back in the DC world with Batman v Superman, Yawn of Justice. We'll see you on that video.
The Yawn of Justice, yes.
Yeah.